My name is Victor Ekweme.
You are visually impaired.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Were you born this way?
No. I could see, um, like every other person. But as I was getting older, from 6 years of age, I noticed that I couldn't see at night. And that was a big issue for me. I couldn't see in the dark, couldn't see at night, and but I was during the day it was okay. Just that I had some bumps here and there, bump being clumsy, which was not my fault, but just due to the vision deteriorating. Until when I got to a certain age, I now the eyesight became so bad. It deteriorated to a level that even during the day it was difficult for me to see, and that was how it all started. So in basically in 2011 or 2012 actually, I was working in a company, and then to look at printed paper was a problem, to look on the screen was a problem. That was the issue. I am a computer science graduate. I'm an IT person by trade. So basically, you need your eyes to function, and the eyes are like 85% of our visual of observation. 85% of our observation is visual. So it was really hard, basically, from that point on. But that's how it all came into play. Went to see the doctor. Doctor said it was called retinitis pigmentosa. It's called RP. That's the short form, RP. And then, had good parents. They were trying to find a cure, but they said there was no cure for the thing. And then, that's how everything just started.
Okay, so from age 6,
Yes.
you kept battling with the poor sight until you finished your secondary school, even went to university
Even university, yes.
with your poor sight.
Yeah.
And after university, you also got a job, you said?
Yeah, so after university, actually, I went abroad. I did 2 masters. Masters in IT, and then masters in intelligent computational systems. I even won an award. I won an award which was sponsored by the US government. It's called Apps for Africa, and it was an award that I won, and I got first prize for the app that I created. So I came back to Nigeria in 2011. And then this award thing happened in that same year. I came back in May. The award happened in November. By 2012, that's when all of this just started. The eyesight deteriorated to a point whereby, okay, even functioning, walking around was a problem. I needed somebody to guide me and all of that.
Now, during all of this period, were you at any point ever depressed?
Oh yes. So after after that happened, after that ordeal, I should say, happened, I went into depression. My organization I was working for then, it's a new thing. They didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to handle it. So they advised for me to resign, which I had to, and then. So that's when the whole world started crashing before my very eyes, basically. So I went into depression, and it was really, I don't know, it's something that I don't wish for even my enemy.
That must have been very tough for you, right?
Yes, it was. It was.
After that moment, how were you able to pick yourself back up?
Wow. Okay. So picking myself back up it took some time. It took some time, but it took a time whereby I had to tell myself I do not want to live like this anymore. I was just at home doing nothing. Okay, so I worked there for 1 year, from 2012 January or February to January 2013, and then I was at home, literally not doing much until 2014, whereby I started working. I got a job in a company in Lagos. And so that even with that, my employer was a bit, will I say, lenient, due to the eye issues and stuff. And then after some time, I started basically listening to different people, motivational speakers, and all those kind of things, which had very good grounding. in Christianity and all of that. So I was like, okay, fine. And this was something that I need to, go into in total. So from there, my mom passed away in 2000 and she passed away in 2016 November, right? And so once that happened, I was actually I was actually taking a shower, and a month after, I said I will never allow this eyesight get to me again. That was my turning point in December of that year. I said I will never allow my eyesight get to me. Sorry, November 16, 2015, actually. That's right, it's 2015. So yeah, I'll say I'll never allow the eyesight get to me anymore. If I don't have the eyes, I'll get somebody to read for me. If I can't see the screen, I may have to pay somebody to read for me on the screen. So I started with that. I got somebody to read some IT books for me, things on software development, a programming language called Python, and all of that. So I started learning all those stuff again, because when you enter depression, you tend to forget so many things. So I learned all those things again. Practicing, and all of that until it became second nature. After that, after doing all of that, one of my colleagues at work was like, okay, you're stressing me and you're stressing yourself. Why don't you go into, he found out something called a screen reader. Why don't we test it out? So I tested out the screen reader and then it worked. I was like, oh, okay, so I don't really need this person that I'm paying in the evening after I come back from work. She's reading for me in my house. I don't need her anymore. I can just do all this reading by myself, practice by myself, because the screen reader reads out the screen for you. So all those things were really helpful for me. And so that's what made me move on into my career. Yeah.
So at the moment, what do you do as a means of earning a living?
Okay, I'm a software developer for a company called Super Digital Highways in Lagos.
And you do this efficiently even with your eyesight problem?
Yes, to the best of my abilities, I do it. Obviously, I might not be as fast as before, but I do it to the best of my abilities. Also some other training that I went for. So things like, because I can't see, so take, for example, if we're having a training and you have to tell me some things, I have to memorize it first before putting it in on the screen, typing it out on a file to save it or something. So I was like, okay, what was the most efficient way for me to learn and to to at least be at par, if not better than my peers and all of that. So I took on some classes on mind and memory and all those kind of things to aid my learning and to aid my productivity at work, right? So I even went online, got some resources, and it has really helped me a lot. So things like mental calculation, I don't really need a calculator to do some things, like take, for example, if you give me any number, any 2-digit number, I can square it. You have to get your calculator out or something. I have one of the things I learned how to train my memory to do was to learn the first 100 digits of pi. Like, pi, when you have equals 3.14, so you have 3.1415926535896732238462643393279 5028884, something like that. Yeah. So like that 197169399. I can go.
That's quite impressive, I must say. Now, how can you recall at any point how your situation, your eyesight situation, has in any way negatively affected your relationship with your relevant others?
They come from a place of love, so they try to protect. Especially when all this happened. Oh, don't go here, don't go there. They just it's just their love, their way of protecting, the person, and that's something. Even though their love, their protection is in a way of, but I felt it inhibited me. It what I say, stemmed my productivity or stemmed my growth. So I said, okay, do you know what? If I listen to these guys, I will probably be stuck in one place, and I have to actually fight and, barge out of this barrier that they are, like a time when I was meant to go to England for a medical checkup. And at least my passport was ready. Every other person's passport was, or visa or whatever, they have to get a visa and stuff like that. But I was like, listen, I need to, and my passport is about to expire. So I have to do this before. I don't want to start trying to renew the passport and all of that. So it took me basically 6 months to try and convince them until finally I said, I'm traveling. I bought the ticket and I traveled by myself. The air hostess, the airline was so beautiful. They assisted me, came back, nothing. I went to hotel. The hotel staff too, beautiful, nice people. Took me to the easiest route to where I'll do my medical, diagnosis and all of that, and then it was fine. Yeah, everything was fine. So yeah, they come in a place of love, but then you have to try and say, okay, do you know what? I have to, what do you call it? So that's from the family side. Relationship side, in terms of opposite sex, it's been an up and down battle. Some of them, it might be from the family, she might be okay, but then whispers from her relatives might now be a problem, and then that you're fighting two battles at the end of the day. So that's it. That's the issues.
But you've been finding ways to cope with all of this.
Oh yes. You have to, because I always say that happiness comes from within. It doesn't come. People find happiness from everywhere. They're trying to find some sense of happiness from other people, other places, or material things. No, I mean, I don't. Actually, some people say, "Oh, wow, you have this issue. Are you not unhappy? Are you not bored at home?" I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm actually, the thing has taught me a lot of things. It has taught me a lot of things.
Yes, I was actually coming to that. What would you say is the most important life lesson you've learned since you got to this stage?
Wow, the most important is the happiness part. And there are so many other things I've learned, like how to compensate. Because I compensate my eyes with my hearing, my sense of touch. Everything is heightened, right? Things that people won't hear, I hear it. That kind of thing. I also learned how to, plan. Sometimes the things you take for granted when you could see, you just, okay, let's go and see a friend, let's go and watch TV, but now I've planned my life. I know what I want to do in like 5 years. I know what I want to do in a year. I know what I want to do in a month. I know what I want to do in a week and in a day. I've seen these things that I probably would not have done or have stumbled into later. But now, because of these things, I've learned it, and my productivity has grown. In terms, I now read more voraciously. I read far and wide, right? And so, like, it's something that I cherish, really. That, even though I don't wish it, but the life lessons is something that you cannot trade. You cannot trade.
Your mom has been gone for how long?
So 2015 to now 24. It's 3.5 years now.
Were you very close to her?
Oh yes, I was close to her. She was, a backbone of the family as well. Once I had these sicknesses, because of this sickness project, she would take me to the hospital, different places. They'll say, oh, there's no cure and all those kind of things. That, okay, we're researching it. We went to Turkey, we went to the UK, different places basically, which, there was no answer to the problem. So we actually went to churches, went, through the Christian route, praying and all of that. I still believe that, anything is possible. God can do anything. I believe that with 100%. I don't doubt that. well, until the manifestation of the healing comes, then I'm fine.
So you still look forward to regaining your sight at some point in life?
Oh yes, I still do. I still do. I have that belief that I will.
Are you making any medical effort towards this direction?
Okay, so medical effort in the medical, yes, I keep in touch with my doctor in Moorfields Eye Hospital. I also see what's going on in that space, and because there's right now they're doing things like retina transplants, which is still in the phase where you start testing phase. They haven't gone public, it's not for the wider public yet. They are doing things like gene therapy, stem cell research. They haven't perfected all these things yet. They're still, the problem with this disease is that the RP is basically, when I went to Turkey, they did this thing called electroacupuncture. So they're trying to stimulate the cells naturally. Okay, what happens is that the eyesight that controls that vision, that part of the vision, is the retina. So doctors are really afraid of touching that place because because there's a blind spot there. If it's a touch and go situation, so there's nothing. They don't really understand what goes on in the retina. Even till now, they still don't understand what goes on. Yes, if you read some medical books, some of my medical friends will tell you it's a complex process that happens in the retina. So they still don't know what goes on. So that's why there's really no cure. And then the problem again is that mine started at 6 or 7. When we went to Turkey, a lady's own started at 15. There was another lady who we met, an elderly lady in her 60s. She became my mom's friend. She said she was driving up until 40, 45 years old, until when the thing started. So it's random. So they don't know how it starts, where it starts, when it starts, So that's the issue.
So at those moments that you feel bad because of your sight, how do you inspire yourself to stay happy? Because to me, you are the happiest person I've met today. Really.
How do I don't know. Sometimes yes, you feel sad, but probably you're trying to get something and you didn't get it, I feel sad then. But then I always say, you know what, it's always going to be better. Just keep on keeping on. You're doing the right things. You're doing the right things. Just keep on doing what you're doing, right? Another thing I started doing again is to try to. Okay, let me give you an example. So once I was trying to start a training school to train kids on how to program from 13 years old to 19 years of age. And then I wanted to go through the angle of an NGO. So we went to an NGO. So it didn't work out, actually. After the first class, it didn't really work out. I partnered with an organization, another NGO called Python Nigeria. Anyway, the whole thing was just a debacle, a complete disaster. So I didn't know. I said, okay, I was a bit saddened by the whole situation because this is something I really loved and I wanted to push forward and all of that. And then I said, okay, what? Instead of going through this route, let me make it into more of a business front where I can partner with someone and all of that. So I always try to look for solutions where there isn't. But at the time when it did happen, yes, I felt a bit saddened by the situation. Sometimes you'd be rejected or something, or by the situation because people see you with a stake. they tend to look the other way, until it's just like a book. They don't read the book. Or you just look at the cover. You don't until when you now open the book and, oh, this book is interesting. And so until when I start speaking and when we start conversing, that's when they're like, oh wow, you're smart, you're this, you're that, that kind of thing. Then we become friends and all of that. But until they heard me speak, they won't have known, So you just have to. I sometimes when I just feel when I get to that scenario where people shun, or I just okay, it's just their limited knowledge or something. So I don't put it on them. I don't put it on myself. I just say, what? My happiness will not be as a result of what they feel about me. I can't do that anymore.
So, as we draw the curtains on this interview, generally, before I ask you, your future views, what would you say to someone who is in a situation that you found yourself, say, when you were 6, 7, 8, 9 to 15 years old? What would you be telling that person at this moment?
What I'll be telling that person is that just be strong, be courageous, be prepared. If you have this sort of thing, just be prepared and be hopeful. Be prepared that, okay, some challenges will come along the way, right? And you have to be prepared for that. But be hopeful that God is there and there's a cure. Men out there, doctors, researchers are looking for the cure for it and all of that. And, so that's just be hopeful, be courageous, have a good sense of character. Don't be bitter with people or yourself. Just try and be happy and all of that. So
now, in 5 years' time, what would you hope should have happened, especially with respect to the researches and all that has been done in particularly the area of the kind of disease that is affecting you at the moment?
Well, in 5 years' time, I know some things are happening in China. Research is happening in China. I know research is happening in the UK. I know research is also happening in the US. So research is happening everywhere, and it will just get better and better. With technology improving and all of that, it will just get better and better. So I am really, really hopeful. I am really, really hopeful, and that's the best thing I can do. And so because of that, I know that because there's hope, and because due to research and due to all these advances in technology, that I'll be okay and happy. Yeah.
It's been a very pleasant experience having you this morning. Thank you very much, Mr. Kwame.
Thank you very much for having me.